The judge has already signaled that he has an intolerance for violations of his orders. And I think first step might be something that's financial, second step might be financial, and I think third is actually potentially lowering the boom, which is he would treat Trump as he would treat any defendant, and that would mean jail time.
Jail time. And that is legal analyst Ryan Goodman talking about Donald Trump. Facing a criminal trial in New York over hush money payments to an adult film star, Trump was ordered by the judge not to attack witnesses, lawyers, court personnel, or their families. Hours after the order on True Social, Trump posted a clip from Fox News of analyst Jonathan Turley saying the integrity of the New York legal system is at stake here. The clip included these comments from Fox host Brian Kilmeade.
The fact is, the judge's daughter is a activist who worked for Kamala Harris, and there was some dispute on whether she did have a picture up on a website with Donald Trump behind bars. That, to me, is something that if I'm Donald Trump, I'm a little concerned about that the judge has a daughter who feels this way.
Kilmeade, of course, got some things wrong.
The judge's daughter posting a photo of Trump behind bars. That has been debunked, did not happen. So Trump gets the gag order, prohibited from attacking family members of Judge Merchan, and then retweets this particular clip. Does this violate the gag order, or is Trump safe because it's not him saying it, it's someone else?
I think it violates the gag order. So if the very words out of Brian Kilmeade's mouth came out of Trump's mouth or out of his keyboard, if he typed those words, they would be in violation of the gag order. That is the smear that's being repeated against the judge's daughter. The fact that Trump is instead posting a video of somebody else saying it runs afoul of the gag order. That is him still making a statement. And I think that the judge will have to carefully look at this, because if he gives it a pass, then he really is giving a pass to a violation.
Back on Fox News, primetime dingbat Jesse Waters said this should not be a violation and Trump deserves a pass because the judge's daughter is not a child.
The judge's daughter isn't 7. She's 34. He's not attacking her. He's just saying what she does for a living. How's that an attack? He just wants a new judge.
Well, many of us want Fox News to dump Jesse Waters, but unfortunately, that's not about to happen. And legal analysts agree Trump is not going to get a new judge in this case. To be clear, the judge's daughter has worked for Democrats, but this has been brought up in the case before, and as Ryan Goodman told Aaron Burnett on CNN, nothing has changed.
This has come up before in the litigation with Merchan himself and about his daughter. Trump had raised this before as an idea of recusal, and then in August of 2023, Judge Merchan actually issues an opinion in which he says, I sought the advice of the New York State's Committee on Judicial Ethics, and they told me specifically, and then the quote he has is, he says, quote, we see nothing in the inquiry to suggest the outcome of the case could have any effect on the judge's the relative's business or any of their interests, end quote. Nothing's changed. These are the same kinds of allegations, and nothing about his daughter's business is directly tied to the case. It would have to be that she is like one of the parties, one of the witnesses, or one of the counsel is a client of hers. None of that exists.
None of the grounds for the judge's recusal exist. However, it is clear that Trump has violated a judge's gag order and could very well be sanctioned financially at first, and then with jail time if Trump keeps violating the judge's gag orders. A few legal analysts say Trump's best defense on judicial order violations in any criminal charges at trial could be, and this may be tongue-in-cheek, an insanity defense. The Trump social media statements are, by most accounts, unhinged. And even at his rallies, Trump is increasingly showing signs of mental illness. At a recent event in Wisconsin, let's start with basic math.
We're a nation that has lost its way, but we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again.
3 years ago, Joe Biden was president. America's economy was heating up, and private citizen Donald Trump was storing classified nuclear secrets next to a toilet in Mar-a-Lago. Trump is not just struggling with math, though. He's also getting basic words wrong. Here's Trump with cops in Michigan talking about the election so far.
Because I was in a beautiful place called Iowa, and we had the Iowa primary, which I won by the highest number in history, by the way, which we're very happy about that.
It was not a primary in Iowa. It was a caucus. It's always been a caucus. But conflating terms and words, well, that's a sign of mental illness. Delusion is another sign.
But into the rural communities, suburban communities, and, you know, the suburban housewives actually like Donald Trump. You know why? Because I'm the one that's going to keep them safe. They like to say, well, the suburban housewives, I don't know. I think I do great with the suburban housewives.
Actually, Trump has never done great with suburban housewives, even when he beat Hillary Clinton in 2016. And in 2020, suburban housewives were the primary reason Trump lost the election to Joe Biden by more than 7 million votes. Even Trump's own political team knows this and has reportedly said it to Trump. But Trump is obviously confused and delusional. And he's also engaged in paranoid projection. Watch.
Because if we don't win on November 5th, I think our country is going to cease to exist. It could be the last election we ever have. I actually mean that. We don't win. I think this could be the last election we ever have. That's where our country's going.
The last election, well, it will certainly be Donald Trump's last. And if he loses, he will be going to relative anonymity. His public persona will cease to exist, except in the courts and possibly in jail. Too bad there isn't jail time for lying about families who are grieving the loss of a loved one. In Michigan, Trump spoke about a young woman named Ruby Garcia who was murdered, allegedly, by an illegal immigrant.
Ruby's loved ones and community are left grieving for this incredible young woman, remembering what they called her. They said she had just this most contagious laughter, and when she walked into a room, she lit up that room. And I've heard that from so many people. I spoke to some of her family.
Trump spoke to some of her family? Axios headline, sister says Trump never contacted family about Ruby Garcia's death. Quote, he did not speak with any of us, so it was kind of shocking seeing that he had said that he had spoke with us and misinforming people on live TV, Mavi Garcia told local news station Target 8. The Trump misinformation, as the family said, or lie, as most people would call it, has gotten a lot of play in Michigan. And that matters, because polls there show the general election race is even. And while it may be one thing to lie about the border crisis in general, lying about a grieving family that may have been victimized by a migrant is a bit different. It is crass, insensitive, and disheartening. And it could take the wind out of Trump's support from people who agree that the border crisis is a top priority, because personal character also matters to some of these voters. And Trump is renewing questions about his own character or lack of it, even among people who are not paying close attention to his criminal trials and lawsuits. As for everyone who is tracking Trump's scuffles with multiple courts and judges, the potential for Trump's sanctions has become a top story. By most accounts, Trump flaunted a judge's gag order. The only question seems to be, will Trump keep doing it, and then what? Most defendants who repeatedly violate a judge's order get placed in jail for contempt of court. There is a theory that Trump wants that, so he can play the victim yet again and ignite the already wild passions of his MAGA base. Still, at a certain point, law should trump politics. And Trump keeps making a mockery of the law and the courts and the judges. And legal experts say nobody should be surprised now if a judge reprimands Trump and silences him, at least temporarily, by throwing him in jail. By the way, one of Donald Trump's top defenders on Fox News, Maria Bartiromo, recently went nuts on air right after claiming ignorance about mental illness.
I don't know what you're saying in terms of mental illness. I have no idea what you're talking about in that regard. But I will say this: gay versus, homosexual versus heterosexual. I mean, it's rich versus poor. It's all dividing this country. And this is a key weapon that this administration uses time and time again. People are sick and tired of it. Instead of unity, he divides us time and time again.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Realberg1015, who wrote, does Mrs. Christian know that Christians don't own days? I don't celebrate Easter, so what? So, according to the right-wing nuts, you are headed to damnation and you are un-American. Anyway, I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump violating a judge's gag order and, according to legal experts, facing sanctions, possibly including jail time. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.